What's up, guys? It's Screwloose from TwinstiqLP again. This is Rebel Galaxy Outlaw, just out today. I think some people have probably been streaming this. I know they have, in fact. But, you know, I didn't really pay a lot of attention to that stuff. I kind of wanted to experience it for myself. Something I did find out about is that it's a little difficult to get started in. And so far, that's been my experience as well. It's like hard to... They say there are tutorial tips and, like, here's what to do, but there really isn't. They don't really tell you anything. This is Richter. He's our first mission guy. Space trucker, funny dude. Just kind of a, you know, this guy's like a little bit shady. He's going to get us in a bunch of trouble. Anyway, we're going to go on to our next mission here. Or our first mission here. So, but this is a whole long thing, so I think we'll skip ahead a bit.
You know whose ass I'm going to kick. Calm down. You'll see. It's gonna be smooth sailing.
Alright, so we got our mission from Richter. We're just gonna leave the bar at this point. Something I do want to show you while this is setting up is that your ship has some really cool customization options. When you go to customize your ship, you can it brings up like a Photoshop mode essentially. And you can just draw on it. And that's the skin. And there's layers and stuff involved, just like Photoshop. It seems like a really cool way to make some like super neat artwork. I think that's going to be really cool. Anyway, here we are in space. And I really don't know, at this point, I really don't know how to do anything because the game hasn't told me. I'm just sort of playing around. This is radio stations. There are a few of them. And that's kind of funny because they have like, there are like radio commercials that come on and, you know, just throughout the music, silly, funny radio commercials. And it kind of brings a level of immersion to the game. It's really fun. There you can see on the left-hand side of that menu, that's engine, shield, weapons, and balance. Looks like you can adjust the power loads you're sending to those areas. Like you can make your weapons stronger, your engines stronger, weaker, and hit rebalance to put everything back where they were. This is interesting. It's just been an interesting ride to get started with. I found out later, I didn't realize that for a while, but I found out later that you can tap A and B to speed up and slow down. So really, I stay at one speed, aside from autopiloting two areas and you know, sublight. This is a system map, and a lot of it is unexplored yet because I just barely started. And the radar is a little difficult to get used to. You can see right there. I'm just trying to get that thing in target sight, and I can't really do it. Pain in the ass. But there we go. This is sublight. This is you can just sort of travel someplace manually. This way you can see down kind of toward the bottom right in the little green monochrome screen there with the yellow dot in the middle of it. That's your mileage. A little exploration bonus, and this is you know, a lot of same sounds and even some of the same music from the first game, which I think is really good. Although this is a prequel. And there's the third-person view, which is not that great, actually, I have to say, because you can't really look around. This is just, you get to do that. So, first-person view is cool. Cockpit view looks nice. Everything seems to be customized. Or not really customized, set to a, like they're ship specific, I should say. They're individual.
Richter has an awful lot of firepower around this thing.
This is just where we got to the mission area. Just sort of a.
And these aren't gonna spin up and start tearing the shit out of us when we get.
You gotta go like sit around this thing for a minute and dodge fire.
We'll keep it from
There's a little bit of combat here.
Just fine. I'm uploading the key now. This'll only take a minute.
And I think probably if I had known, I would have just tapped B until I slowed down. This is gamepad. Controls are a little bit weird to get used to because you're using both sticks. Your right analog stick it controls the roll of your ship, and the left controls yaw and pitch. So you're using both in conjunction to move around.
Easy for you to say.
And you can, as it shows there on the screen, hold the left trigger to sort of lock onto a target. At some point I end up fighting some ships.
Mercs. Just contractors. Xander keeps them on the payroll as muscle. Look, I've almost got the codes. Keep them distracted.
Hurry up, damn it. There's only two things I like more than
At this point I still couldn't find them on the radar. I know they're shooting at me. Blow up a turret. And I can hear it. I'm not sure it's coming through in the recording here, but the game does support the simulated surround sound. So when you've got your headphones on in 5.1 or 7.1 or whatever, you can hear where stuff is coming from. Unfortunately, my recording so far is only recording in stereo. That's the only way I can get sound to work on it until AMD fixes Relive.
time for you to die.
But yeah, here's a pirate or mercenary or whatever. And to get a missile lock, you have to be following somebody. You can't missile lock head ahead. And again, if I had known I could speed up, I might have done that. I may even start the game over at this point because I did not have a very good opening experience. I may just restart before I go too far into it. The music is great. All of it is pretty good. I don't know. I mean, there's some stuff people probably aren't going to be that much of a fan of, just stylistically, but there's a lot of music. And if you don't like any of it, you can drop in your own tracks. They've got their own like jukebox section, custom music path that you can drop in music. Or somebody mentioned you could even put like if you have podcasts download and you just want to, like you're driving to work, listen to a podcast or something, you can do that. Pretty cool. In fact, I really appreciate a game that does that. Customization is good in this. Alright, so we left the area. We went back here, and that's basically the first mission in the game. I don't know. I ended up at one point having to leave and go get a tractor beam.
You're gonna need a tractor system. I mean, I saw what you're flying. Is that gonna be a problem?
I haven't had time to get one installed yet. Damn it. Alright, I'll be back.
I'll be around. Don't take too long.
So I don't have enough money for these things. The tractor beam, and what you got to do is accept some missions, right? So you jump to the mission board, and this is where people said, you know, maybe the game gets a little bit grindy. I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that the grinding for a reason is probably okay. But you can see down there on the right, I don't have enough credits. I have 3,700 credits. Tractor beam costs 7,500. So clearly I'm going to have to take on some missions. Which is fun. You know, in the first Rebel Galaxy, you could take on missions, but all your ships were capital ships, and it was a little bit different. It was like naval combat, you know. You had it was a 2D plane. There was no up and down movement, no Z-axis. So here's the mission board. You go in and check them out. It's pretty similar. You can check out your deals there. I think I picked like 3 missions. So initially, you know, I think I picked a patrol mission and a delivery mission and something else. But I want to go check out this mission, the delivery first. I'd like to get, cargo hold space set up. Not that it really matters, I guess, at this point. I didn't realize it at the time, but you need a tractor beam to pull up stuff on cargo. I don't have a tractor beam yet, so I'm taking on missions. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. The fact is, I ended up doing this patrol stuff first, and things got a little bit confusing there because it's really hard to target stuff. Well, it's probably not. I'm just not used to it yet. You can hit a scanner and find things, but what happened was I ended up getting into an area where there was a lot of mines. You can see these red targets with mines. And they ended up, chasing after me. They're magnetic mines.
Let's see here.
And as they, you can target the mines and destroy them and so on. But you can also see up there that the black box that I'm supposed to scan keeps saying it's out of range, and I don't know how to find it at this point. You can hit the scanner, I guess, and find it. I found out later. But it's still not real easy to target. It's just going to take a little while to get used to these controls. I have read that the joystick control is probably a little bit easier to use in terms of ship movement. Targeting is just something I'm going to have to get used to. But so far, I really like this. It's just lots of little small details and stuff. And it's interesting to fly around in a nice 3D environment. It's like, I think once I get used to it, it's going to be just exactly what I was hoping this game would be. Combat is kind of loud and obnoxious and in your face, and it's bright and explosive, and it's fun. The game is really cool so far. I just have to get used to controls, and I think anybody that goes into this really needs to start on normal mode. Somebody that's going into this without playing it previously, because it is not real easy to get started with. And normal gives you a full complement of weapons and armor and stuff. Good starting equipment.
I'm 10-8 to my next stop.
Whereas veteran gives you a little more limited set, and whatever the hard difficulty is called gives you basically nothing. You just have a ship. You have no weapons and nothing. You just have to go make your way through. Simulation mode, I think is what they call that. Not only that, but you can't switch views. You can only stay first person. Anyway, this is what I did for a while. I just kind of cruised around and looking for how to do this. Really, the tooltips don't help you. That's a huge complaint. The tooltips are worthless, essentially. They don't seem to help at all. But anyway, once I get used to this, I'll put a little more detailed video up. Something that's maybe a little more fun as time goes on and I get some upgrades and stuff. But this is it right now. I do enjoy it. It is cool. And I'm glad that I picked it up. And it's only $30. So, super cool. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys watching. As always, guys, have a great one. I've been Screwless from TwinstiqLP. This is Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. Again, hopefully, once I'm a little more used to this, I'm going to be putting up something a little better, a little more indicative of how the game will actually play. Just a little bit difficult to get started in. Yeah. Alright, guys. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.